What's up, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Respectfully podcast. And I am your host, Cam Farmer. And today, I want to talk about one person who I perceive to be one of the most disrespected players in the NBA. And that is none other than Mr. Jaylen Brown, former guard forward for the Boston Celtics. First and foremost, I am excited that Jaylen Brown is no longer a part of the Boston Celtics. I am excited that Jaylen Brown is in a place that he's valued, and being traded to a place like Philadelphia was not necessarily on my bingo card. But truth be told, the way the media covered Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, we have to understand that a trade for one or the other was inevitable. And the way the media was constructed, Jaylen Brown's trade was inevitable. Jaylen Brown has every right to feel that he was disrespected by Boston simply because of the perpetual lack of job security. You see, the issue with Boston is very simple. If you're going to shoot, you better not miss. And we must understand that Jaylen Brown has been in trade talks for almost a decade. He was in trade talks in 2018 before Kawhi Leonard ultimately went to Toronto. In 2019, before Anthony Davis ultimately went to the Lakers, right? When Kevin Durant formally and officially requested a trade from the Brooklyn Nets in June of 2022. Or was it August 2022? It was in 2022. And now we're here in 2026 where Jaylen Brown has yet again been in trade rumors for Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I don't know what was more disappointing. Boston being 0 for 4 in Jaylen Brown trades before the Paul George trade, or the fact that they just didn't feel the need to attempt to put Jayson Tatum on a few trading blocks. But apparently, Jaylen Brown being a finals MVP and an all NBA second team member, sixth in MVP voting, and the sole reason the Celtics won over 55 games, all in a 2-year time frame, wasn't enough to convince you all that maybe, just maybe, he shouldn't be in trade talks anymore. And the crazy thing is, it didn't have to be this way. It didn't. If both Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown were equally valued by Boston, if the NBA media equally appreciated and accepted that both were franchise cornerstones and both were the faces of the franchise, none of this would have been an issue. And last time I checked, there's no law that says that there can't be two franchise faces of a franchise. And so now, with the Boston Celtics, Jayson Tatum is the undisputed alpha. And for that, I want to thank Brad Stevens. I want to thank Brad Stevens because I don't think he realizes just how much pressure and how much he just set Jayson Tatum up for failure. And with Jayson Tatum being the undisputed alpha, it isn't the flex that a lot of people think it is. And along with having sole franchise accountability for the success and the failure of the team, in the eyes of the media and fans alike, at least, he's no longer, he no longer has the co-star that helped anchor the entire franchise for a decade. And now the Celtics' title window has never felt so close to being closed. Unless Paul George turns back the clock, Peyton Pritchard and Derek White go supernova, of course. Though I want nothing more than to see Jayson Tatum capture a second championship and, potentially his first finals MVP with Boston, And there's a legit case to be made that he should already have a finals MVP. Brad Stevens and his decision making is playing with Jayson Tatum's legacy. Because I'm going to tell y'all what's going to happen. If Jaylen Brown leads Philly to a championship, let alone wins a championship, and Boston doesn't even sniff a conference finals or a championship, I don't even wish for that to happen. Everyone is going to say, well, darn, maybe Jaylen Brown was the one that got away. Maybe Jayson Tatum wasn't that player that everyone thought. Like, those conversations surrounding Jayson Tatum are going to be brutal. Because at the end of the day, yes, Jayson Tatum is the one that has to produce. And he's the one that has to play winning basketball. So he's going to bear the brunt of the praises and the criticism. But at the same time, the decisions that Brad Stevens has made, if they don't earn the Celtics dividends in the next 2 to 3 years, because remember, their title window is drastically close to being closed, it will set Jayson Tatum up for narratives he does not deserve to be in. But at the same time, I think Jayson Tatum can use this to his advantage. Here's why. I'm inclined to see what Jayson Tatum does this season because the situation that Brad Stevens puts him in actually should put a chip on his shoulder. And I'll be completely transparent. I didn't have the highest expectations for the Celtics last year, before last season, and Jaylen Brown before last season, especially without Jayson Tatum. So my question is, should Boston still have high expectations now that Jaylen Brown is gone and Jayson Tatum is the definitive 1A option? And to answer that succinctly, absolutely. I believe the expectations should be high for Boston with Jayson Tatum leading. Jaylen Brown exceeded expectations, leading the Celtics without Jayson Tatum. So why can't Jayson Tatum do the same without Jaylen Brown? It's like Steph Curry and Kevin Durant. When KD left for Brooklyn in 2019, people believed that the Warriors dynasty was done, right? Klay was out with his ACL. Steph was out with his broken hands. People thought that the dynasty was done and that Steph wouldn't be able to lead Golden State back to the mountaintop without Kevin Durant. And the KD saved Steph's, oh my goodness. And the KD saved Steph's legacy trope was such a huge talking point in the media until Steph did what people didn't think he could do, and the rest was history. And the crazy thing is, Steph accomplished what others thought was impossible against the Celtics squad that was led by Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So if I'm Jayson Tatum, I have the opportunity to solidify myself as one of the greatest basketball players and one of the greatest Celtics of all time. And if he succeeds with a shorter title window, I think, like I said, he easily becomes one of the greatest Celtics of all time. Like, we're talking jersey retirement treatment. So having said that, I expect to see the Philadelphia 76ers travel to Boston on NBA opening night. Let me say that again. If I'm Adam Silver and I oversaw arguably the greatest offseason of all time, and the landscape of the NBA changed, and opening night being around the corner, I would schedule the Philadelphia 76ers against the Boston Celtics, with the 76ers being the away team. You see, ladies and gentlemen, this was a deeply emotional offseason When you think about LeBron landing in Philly, Giannis landing in Miami, Charlotte surprisingly trading LaMelo Ball, and you add the Jaylen Brown Celtics fiasco as the cherry on top, if I'm Adam Silver, I want to start the NBA season off, the 2026-2027 season off with a bang. And there is only one game in the most respectful way possible that to me would garner better dividends than the Knicks' ring night, no matter who it is, including San Antonio. That is the Philadelphia 76ers playing at TD Garden against the Celtics. If I'm Adam Silver, I need a game that I know is going to give the fans and the consumers an equal pool of great hoops and great entertainment. A 76ers Warriors matchup can be that game, but are you going to get that on opening night? A Spurs and a Miami Heat matchup can be that game, but are you going to get that on an opening night? I mean, shoot, even a Lakers and a Wizards matchup can give you that, but are you going to get that on opening night? I may get great hoops from all three of those matchups. But again, if I'm Adam Silver, would those matchups be entertaining along with the great hoops? Would they be entertaining to the consumer on opening night? That is why I call on the NBA to schedule the Philadelphia 76ers playing at TD Garden on opening night against the Boston Celtics. And you may ask, why do you want the Sixers playing at TD Garden so badly? It's because I want Jaylen Brown to give Brad Stevens and and the Celtics organization a small glimpse into why he never should have been on the trading block multiple times in 10 seasons. The Celtics, in reality, took 3 L's in a 2-month time frame. They tried to sign LeBron, knowing LeBron does not rock with Boston at all. L. They drastically shortened their title window for no reason. L. And they single-handedly ruined a partnership with their 29-year-old finals MVP who never wanted to leave Boston no matter how outspoken he was. L. So, to Brad Stevens, I understand the ingredient, but it doesn't mean that it makes the meal better because, brother, the meal doesn't taste good right now. And I pray you earn the Celtics fans dividends with this trade over time. And I pray that you pray that the Celtics win a championship before the Philadelphia 76ers. And ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of tonight's episode. Please, you guys have a great rest of your day. Be safe. God bless you guys. Love.